Good afternoon, everybody. Third attempt at getting this video up. Stupid iPad and not having memory, because YouTube downloads videos to save all on its own. That's where all my memory went. Anyway, important topic today that many of you, sadly, like myself, have probably encountered, and that is how the narcissist thinks their opinion is by definition correct. Basically, how, whatever they think is by definition true, they don't have to have any proof. They don't even have to back it up. You're just expected to fall in line blindly in lockstep behind whatever they believe because it's them who believes it. And of course, especially if you're the black sheep, you're not even entitled to have your opinion. It's like, how dare you do anything other than fall in line behind what I told you is true? The fact that I, the narcissist, told you it's true and what's right, that makes it right by definition. This is especially true if you're dealing with a boomer narc, because they take it to another level. It's narcissism with baby boomer entitlement and privilege on it. And, well, I'll be honest, especially if they're male too, Some people don't get that distinction. While there is white male privilege, but a white male my age and a white male baby boomer are not equal in the privilege department. The boomer's higher. I would argue that a white boomer woman and a white male my age are on par, because baby boomer privilege is for real, and it hasn't ended yet, because despite the fact that they're in their 60s and 70s, the country still solely focuses on them, other than, rich people. If you're rich, don't matter what your background is. They'll, money equals speech in this country. Thanks, Citizens United. Well, and Buckley versus Vallejo. Pretty sure it was Buckley versus Vallejo was the original case, but regardless. So you're not entitled to your opinions. The narcissist thinks whatever they believe is by definition correct. And of course, they get really offended if you decide to challenge that, to tell the narcissist they're wrong. You can't do that. The narcissist is never wrong. They're by definition right. We've been through this before, but I want to explain this, this specific instance in detail. And this can manifest in a lot of ways. So the narcissist not only believes that they're always right and that their opinion is to be treated as gospel, as if carried off the mountain, but they'll never accept them not being the best at anything. Now, this can manifest in a bunch of different ways. Like, for one, I recall a conversation at a family Christmas, oh the horror, about 10 years ago, where a bunch of people were talking about the TV shows and movies that were, popular 10 years ago. And comments were made about, certain male actors, and, guys made comments like, well, he's on roids, which, be honest, they were right. I used to work out in a bodybuilder gym years ago. I was around guys on roids a lot, so I know the signs when someone's on roids. But of course, when they were talking about the young female actors, of course, the boomer women were like, she's not that pretty. I looked way better when I was that age. It's like, no, I've seen plenty of pictures. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Just think that nobody younger than you can ever surpass anything you did, because everything you've done is by definition the greatest thing that's ever happened. Yeah, and everybody else is just lucky to bask in your presence and greatness. How reality just warps and bends around you to serve your every whim. But the narcissist will, if they can't convince you that their opinion is the only one that matters and that it's true by definition, they'll do what narcissists do: gaslight, lie, cheat. Again, good example, Democratic Party. Look at what they did to Bernie compared to how they prop up Biden. Gee, I think both are old white men. In fact, only a year apart in age. No, only Bernie's an old white male. Biden's perfect, exactly what we need. An upstanding good old boy. I mean, what? Did I say that part out loud? We need to break barriers and have our first. What's Biden the first of? Nothing. Well, Bernie wouldn't be either. First Jewish president. Yeah, don't talk about that. Yeah. No, because it's all about maintaining their status quo. And that's what the narcissist will do, in that situation. It's like, well, if we can't convince you to come to our neoliberal corporatist way of thinking, we'll rig it in favor of the neoliberal corporatists who will continue the status quo. And then we'll try to shame you into voting for them by saying how bad the other side is. Other side bad, you just got to do what we want you to do. Don't do it. We get a Republican, we get a Republican. Stop giving the boomers what they want. This is my personal message now. Just don't do it. Make them fall in line for once. If the Republican's so evil and scary, they can fall in line behind a progressive for once. But no, they'd rather lose to a Republican than win with a progressive. But I'm not going to give them what they want. I'm not going to do it. Can't do it anymore. So it's things like that. The narc will keep going on and on about, well, I know it works like this. And evidence to the contrary doesn't even faze them. I'll give you another example. This will hit home for a lot of you. So, you know how bad that Great Recession thing was, especially for those of us born in the 80s. The job market was terrible. President Cheney really tanked the economy in his last year. So you get out of university and it's like, you idiots told me any degree's a good degree. And, you just got anything. Doesn't matter what it's in, just got to have it. And, well, this is how you get a good job. So being young and naive and beaten down at the time, I listened to what these all-knowing boomers said for a year. Did exactly what I was told. Not a damn thing they said came true. But then when I said that, and said the obvious things of like, hey, things are different than they were, 30 years ago, from the early 2010s to the early 80s. No, I still think this is how it's done. Based on what? Your nostalgia? Truth don't care about your nostalgia. And that's just an example of no matter what evidence you have to the contrary, even personal experiences that they know is true, it doesn't change what they believe to be true, because nothing can. If they believe it, it's by definition true. And doesn't matter how many decades out of touch their information is, or if they completely make it up. A narcissist who knows nothing about, I dealt with this when I was dealing with legal things, they'll be like, oh no, that's not how that works. It's like, well, I know you didn't go to law school. Are you talking from experience? Were you involved in a civil case at one time? Nah, it just works like that. Why? That's why I just know. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they're experts. Narcissists are experts on everything. And I will forewarn you of this. A lot of times, they're going to voice their opinion on how something works to try to prevent you from doing something. Anything that gets you ahead, anything that gets you justice or fairness, or anything that, challenges their status quo or their beliefs. Because deep down, they know it's a house of cards. And they know it's only a matter of time. Because, particularly among the boomer narcs, their numbers are dwindling. They're the only ones, holding this status quo in place, and their grips are getting arthritic and decrepit. So keep that in mind. Do not back down. Just because they say they just know, and another common tactic you got to be aware of is they'll try to talk over you and not let you talk. If the narcissist is talking over you and not letting you talk when you're giving a counter argument, you're giving, facts to back it up, that's because they know they're wrong. But, really what's going on in their head is like, how dare you question me? Fall in line, fall in line, fall in line, fall in line. This is what I believe, and this is what I want to be true, and you all have to believe it. I don't even make me consider the fact that I may be wrong, which of course they don't. They always think they're right, but they're thinking, like, how can anybody even dare question that I don't know what I'm talking about? Like, don't you know who I am? That's their level of entitlement. That, the fact that they say it, that it's coming from their mouth, it must be true and respected and is unquestionable. Yeah, they're all Pope. They're all Pope sitting in their chair. Infallible. So, yes, it is quite maddening, because dealing with a narcissist who believes that their opinions, their preferences are by definition true. And I'm all about debate. I was co-captain of my debate team back in the day. But, when you're debating somebody, you actually have to give an argument and back your claims up. You can't just say, I think this is what is true, and because I'm saying it, it is true. Yeah, no, that's not how it works. And they can't handle people disagreeing with them. They can't handle people criticizing their opinions, and they can't handle things changing over time because, well, that means they're getting older and time has passed. And narcs don't age. We all know that too. So be aware of that. It's a very frustrating thing to go through. Know that you're not alone. Keep at them with your facts and logics. And when they gaslight you and come at you and call you childish, mimic them. Mimic them. If they go, no, do it back to them. Yeah, because they're trying to set you off. But, see, they'll have a hard time of coming at you for doing exactly what they're doing. Mirror them. Gets in their head. Drives them nuts. Makes them the bad guy if they explode. Because you're like, well, I'm just doing what you were doing. Didn't you say to mimic your beliefs? Well, now I'm mimicking your behavior. That'll drive them nuts. And also it lets them know, that like they know that they're full of it. And that always gets to them. So keep that in mind. I hope that was informative and helpful. Please like and subscribe. Help the channel grow. Donate to the channel if you can. Follow me on Instagram and check out my TikTok. And I'll be back later or tomorrow. Let's see how the day goes.